Hello everyone, welcome to session 15 of IS Baba's Rapid Revision series or RARE series for UPSC Prelims Examination 2021. I am Preetham Reddy and in this session I will be dealing with 10 high probable topics especially from science and technology related current affairs which are important for UPSC Prelims Examination 2021, and we know that we are on day 19. So according to the RARE schedule or Rapid Revision schedule, so day 19 topics are environment and science and technology, so aquatic life zones and biotechnology respectively. So in today's session I will be majorly dealing with those articles which are part of biotechnology section, because aquatic life zones usually students have to cover those things from the static part. Whatever articles or current affairs related articles which have come from this particular section, we will be dealing those in the upcoming sessions. So today's session, it is majorly on biotechnology, and we know that biotechnology, it's a very important area. So from past 5 to 6 years, there have been good amount of questions, especially from this section. So in today's session, we will be dealing with some of the important current affairs articles from biotechnology. So first one is National Biotechnology Development Strategy, and then Atal Jai Anusandhan Biotech Unnati Mission and Garbini Mission and India CEPI Mission, and we will try to know about CEPI and National Biopharma Mission. So these are some of the schemes or government measures which have been taken recently, and then we will be dealing with CAR T cell therapy, and then we will be dealing with role of T cells and different types of white blood cells. So we know that white blood cells, it will act as a immunity, right? It is part of immune system. So we'll try to know about different types of white blood cells, and then we'll try to know about some recent advancements or developments in biotechnology area, that is bioassay and bioflow and biofloc technology, and there are some key terms which were in news which is important for biotechnology. So these are the articles for today. So there are more important articles from this particular section, that is biotechnology. So we'll be dealing all those articles in upcoming session wherever possible. So there will be maximum diversification. Okay, so we'll try to cover almost all the important areas. So today's first topic is National Biotechnology Development Strategy. So first, students should be aware what is biotechnology. Okay, so most of the freshers, they don't know biotechnology, what we have to read, what is this area, right? So just know that biotechnology, it deals with certain applications of biological knowledge and techniques which are pertaining to especially molecular, cellular and genetic processes. So whenever you come across any articles which are dealing with the techniques pertaining to molecular, cellular or genetic processes, so they are under this biotechnology section. Okay, so first let's try to understand National Biotechnology Development Strategy, that is recently launched by the government for 2021 to 2025. So for the next 5 years, the government has unveiled the strategy. So we'll try to understand National Biotechnology Development Strategy. So first important point what we have to know about this National Biotechnology Development Strategy is that, so we have set ourselves an ambitious target of biotechnology contributing to a knowledge and innovation driven bioeconomy. So it wants biotechnology as a key driver for India's knowledge and innovation driven bioeconomy. So for that, the government has set some vision and mission under this particular strategy. So what is the vision? To harness the potential of biotechnology as a premier precision tool for national development as well as well-being of the society. And the mission to make India globally competitive in biotechnology research, innovation, translation, entrepreneurship and industrial growth. And we want India to be $150 billion bioeconomy by 2025. So with this strategy, you have to know India intends to become one among the top 5 countries globally, and we want us to be recognized as a global biomanufacturing hub by 2025, and we want to achieve a growth of 150 billion US dollars by 2025. So this is the major agenda. So for prelims, you have to remember there is National Biotechnology Development Strategy 2021 to 2025, and what is the major target? So by 2025, India wants to achieve the growth of 150 billion bioeconomy by 2025, and India, it wants to rank itself in the top 5 countries globally, and right now India is among the top 12 biotech destinations in the world, and we are ranking 3rd in Asia. So this is what you have to remember. So next what you have to remember is this particular National Biotechnology Development Strategy, it provides that the biotech sector, it can be primarily classified into 5 major segments. So first one is biopharma, second is bioservices, bioagri, that is bioagriculture, and then bioindustrial and bioinformatics. So which together will contribute to the bioeconomy. So these are some of the facts which are important, and whatever articles which come under the biopharma, bioservices, bioagriculture, bioindustry or bioinformatics, they are all important for us. So currently India is comparatively doing good with respect to the biotechnology industry growth. So what is the major reason? It is because of India's vaccines as well as recombinant therapeutics. Okay, so according to this particular National Biotechnology Development Strategy as well as the current affair articles, so India is doing good, especially in 2 areas, vaccines and recombinant therapeutics at present. Okay, so next important topic, so Atal Jai Anusandhan Biotech Unnati Mission. So this particular mission, it was implemented by Department of Biotechnology, which is under the Ministry of Science and Technology. So this Unnati mission, it aims to undertake nationally relevant technology innovation. Okay, so that is the meaning of Unnati. So Unnati is expected to transform health, agriculture, energy sectors during the next 5 years, and there are 5 important areas which this Unnati mission will be focusing on. So as you can see in the figure, first one is Garbini, which is for maternal and child health. So this Garbini, it is a mission to promote maternal and child health and also to develop biotechnology related prediction tools, especially for preterm births, right? So to protect maternity as well as child health. So this is what you have to remember. And second important program is India CEPI program. So what is India CEPI program? It is the Coalition of Epidemic Preparedness Innovation. Okay, so here, so in the first one, it is innovation in the maternal and child health. Here innovation in the epidemic preparedness. So you have to remember epidemic preparedness. And third important area is AMR for affordable health. So it is dealing with antimicrobial resistance, right? So antimicrobial resistance. So for affordable diagnostic and therapeutics, so this particular Unnati mission, it will be focusing on bringing in some innovation. So fourth important area is biofortified and protein rich wheat for Poshan Abhiyan. So there was recent articles on this biofortified wheat. So it is important area for us to go through those articles. So development of biofortified and protein rich wheat, it is also one of the important area under this Atal Jai Anusandhan mission or Unnati mission, that is undertaking nationally relevant technology innovation. And fifth one is clean energy. So to give some impetus to the Swachh Bharat. So innovation, so innovative technology interventions for Swachh Bharat. So these are the 5 areas which you have to remember for prelims under this Atal Jai Anusandhan Biotech Unnati mission. And it is currently under Department of Biotechnology and under Ministry of Science and Technology. So these are the facts which you have to remember. So next important topic is Garbini. So first we have to know what is Garbini. So it's a group for advanced research in birth outcomes. So it's again the Department of Biotechnology India initiative. So it's an interdisciplinary group for advanced research in birth outcomes. So already we saw here it is dealing with both maternal and child health. So with this Garbini mission, the major aim is, since like we are dealing with the biotechnology part, and already I said biotechnology deals with molecular or cellular or genetic, right? So here the major aim is to deal with or to mark the molecular risk markers. So under this Garbini, so we will be studying and we will be discovering some molecular risk markers which are dealing with the preterm birth related issues, and also those mothers who are at risk or to save children's lives and reducing morbidity. So it is initiated by Department of Biotechnology to promote maternal and child health and to develop prediction tools for preterm births, and the major aim is to save children's lives and reducing morbidity. And this Garbini platform, it comprises a biorepository called Rakshita. So simple question can be framed that biorepository Rakshita is a part of which particular platform or which particular mission Okay, so Garbini platform, it comprises of this particular biorepository, that is Rakshita. So it is a repository of well characterized clinical phenotypes, and it will handle biospecimens and also ultrasound images. So these are the things which you have to know from this particular Garbini program. So next important topic, that is India CEPI mission and CEPI. So first we have to know what is CEPI. So CEPI is nothing but Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations. So it is a coalition for epidemic preparedness innovation, and the CEPI, it is a global partnership which was launched in 2017. So students should know the CEPI, it was launched in 2017 majorly to develop vaccines to stop future epidemics. So right in 2017, that is before Corona itself, they had launched this particular CEPI. So 2 years before, and it was launched at World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, and it was co-founded and co-funded by some important organizations and NGOs like Bill and Melinda Gates, Wellcome Trust, and also consortium of nations such as Norway, Japan, Germany, to which European Union and Britain subsequently joined. So the CEPI, that is global partnership. So before Corona pandemic itself, they knew or they had got formed so that they can be prepared for any epidemic outbreak, or to start some innovation, especially to develop some vaccines in order to stop future epidemics. And for prelims, you have to know the CEPI, it focuses on World Health Organization's blueprint priority diseases. So you have to know what is this blueprint priority diseases. So they include some of the epidemic diseases such as coronavirus, that is COVID-19, or I can say SARS, CoV-2. There was MERS also, right? Middle East Respiratory Syndrome. So MERS related COE, that is coronavirus, and we had in Kerala that Nipah virus. So even the WHO's blueprint priority disease, it deals with chikungunya virus, and other important epidemic diseases. So try to go through that particular list, and we have to know India CEPI. So we are collaborating with this CEPI. So India is collaborating with the CEPI, and this collaboration mission, it is part of DBT, that is Department of Biotechnology. So this DBT, it is supporting the implementation of this CEPI, that is Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovation, and we want to align with the global initiative to develop the vaccines and also to be part of the epidemic preparedness innovations. Okay, so the what is the aim? Vaccine development and also innovation in epidemic preparedness. And next you have to know India CEPI mission, it initiated e-course series. So this e-course series, which is called strengthening clinical trial research capacity in neighboring countries. So India with collaborative support from CEPI mission, so it has initiated this particular e-course series, which is primarily aimed towards skill development and capacity buildings, and also some coordination and support between the neighboring countries. So these are the things which you have to remember. Just know in CEPI mission, it deals with vaccine development and also it deals with epidemic preparedness innovation. So next important topic, that is National Biopharma Mission. So this particular mission, it is an industry academia collaboration or collaborative mission for accelerating biopharmaceutical development in the country. So already we have dealt with such collaborative missions between industry and academia. So we have covered ISRO's Respond program. So in our previous sessions we had covered ISRO's Respond program, and there was one more program, NIAO, right? So Indian Navy's Naval Indigenous or Naval Innovation and Indigenization Organization, right? So on the same lines, we have this National Biopharma Mission, so which will act as a industry academia collaborative mission for accelerating biopharmaceutical development in the country. So this NBM, that is National Biopharma Mission, it was launched in 2017 with the cost of rupees 1,500 crore, and 50% of the fund, it was through World Bank loan. And this particular mission, it is implemented by BIRAC, that is Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council. So we know that BIRAC, it is a PSU, right? So BIRAC is a PSU, that is Public Sector Enterprise under DBT, so Department of Biotechnology. So this BIRAC, Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council. So it is the implementing agency of this National Biopharma Mission. This is what you have to remember. And under this mission, the government has launched Innovate in India. So this is the program, important. I think last year rapid revision series I have already covered regarding this particular I3 program, that is Innovate in India program, to create an enabling ecosystem to promote entrepreneurship and also indigenous manufacturing of the biopharma sector. So totally this National Biopharma Mission, it deals with biopharmaceutical development and collaboration of industry and academic or important academic institutions. So why do we need this collaboration? Again, it is for the development of products such as vaccines, biosimilars and medical devices, right, that are relevant to the public health, and also to upgrade whatever the infrastructure facilities we have, and also to be part of some innovative manufacturing or innovative product discovery, as well as to improve the capacity building and to develop technology transfer, right, and to enhance industry academia interlinkages. So all these are part of this National Biopharma Mission. And also you have to revise regarding BIRAC Space Mission. So there is one more BIRAC's initiative, that is SPACE, which is promoting academic research conversion to enterprise. Okay, so promoting academic research to convert them to enterprise. So we'll look into next topic, that is CAR T cell therapy. So what is CAR T? So CAR T is chimeric antigen receptor T cell therapy. So what is this CAR T? Chimeric antigen receptor T cell therapy. So for prelims, just know that it is associated with cancer treatment, especially acute lymphocytic leukemia. So it deals with, or it associated with, cancer treatment. So why this CAR T cell therapy is important, or why it was in news? Because at present India did not have this particular technology, and each patient's this CAR T cell therapy, it costs around 3 to 4 crores. Okay, so India took up the challenge to develop this technology in a very cost effective manner and to make it available for the patients. And this particular remarkable achievement, so it was done during June month. So the 4th June 2021, it was a historic day, especially for IIT Bombay as well as some cancer care like Tata Memorial Health maybe. So first CAR-T or first CAR T cell therapy, right? So a type of gene therapy, it was done at this particular bone marrow transplant unit. So the first CAR T cell therapy, which is a type of gene therapy, so it was done, or it was achieved at this particular TMH, that is Tata Memorial Health or Tata Memorial Center, which is in Mumbai, with the help of IIT Bombay as well as this Tata Memorial Health. So under the BIRAC Space Mission. So BIRAC Space as well as also with the help of National Biopharma Mission. So we just dealt with this one. So with the help of NBM as well as BIRAC Space Mission, so both IIT, that is academic and industry collaboration, so we have achieved this particular first CAR T cell therapy. So this CAR T, that is chimeric antigen receptor T cell therapy, it has shown promising results, especially in the end stage patients. So the final stage patients, cancer patients, so it's a good news. So you have to know about this CAR T cell therapy. And next you have to know the role of T cells. So here we have this T cell therapy, right? So we have to know what is the role of T cells, and also we have to know the types of white blood cells. Especially this topic is also important because of the recent COVID and also antigen related articles. So it had shown that high level of white blood cells, so they save the asymptomatic COVID-19 patients from complications. So studies and researchers, they have revealed this one. So whoever developed good amount of white blood cells, so they were saved from the COVID-19 complications. So we'll try to understand what is the role of T cell, as well as we'll try to know what are the different types of white blood cells. So T cell, it is also called as T lymphocyte. So it is a type of leukocyte, that is white blood cell, that is an essential part of the immune system. So these T cells, they are one of the two primary types of lymphocytes. So we know that we have two types of lymphocytes, one is B cell and one more is T cell. So this T cell, they are one of the two primary types of lymphocytes. So they determine the specificity of immune response to antigens, that is foreign substances in the body. That's why it is important. So you have to know the human immunity system, it is a complex network, and this interplay of blood cells, including the T and B cells, they defeat pathogens such as the coronavirus. That's why it is important. And T cells, they play a plethora of roles in immunity. They act as killer cells that can attack an infected cell and kill it along with the infecting agent. And these T cells, they also act as a suppressor cells that modulate the level of functioning of other lymphocytes. So these are some of the important role. So for prelims, just know that lymphocytes, so we have B cells and T cells, and T cells is a type of this leukocyte, which is a white blood cell that is an essential part of the immune system. So we'll try to understand about white blood cells and types of white blood cells. So we know that white blood cells, they make up about 1% of all the cells in our blood. So these white blood cells, so they make up our immune system, and they are also responsible for fighting infections and also pathogenic microbes which enter in our body, right? So we'll try to understand other types of white blood cells. So we can divide the type of white blood cells into two broad classifications. One is granulocytes and second one is agranulocytes. So first one, granulocytes, they are named after the peculiar granules which are noticed in their cytoplasm when seen under the microscope. Whereas this agranulocytes, they are WBCs, that is white blood cells, which do not have any granules present in them. So this T and B cells, which are part of lymphocytes, they are part of this agranulocytes. So this is the major difference what you have to know. So from prelims perspective, just know that T cells and B cells, which are part of lymphocytes, they are part of agranulocytes, and also there are monocytes which are part of this agranulocyte. And why they are called agranulocyte? Because there are no granules which are present in the cytoplasm. So next we'll deal with bioassay, which is part of biotechnology. So what is bioassay? It deals with use of living organism to test for the presence of a compound or to determine the amount of compound that is present in a sample. So in simple terms, it is the usage of living organism to test for the presence of certain compounds or compound that is present in a sample. So in a biotechnological term, so bioassay is an analytical method to determine concentration or potency of a substance by its effect on living organisms or living animals or tissue or cell culture systems. So it deals with both in vivo and in vitro. So for prelims, just remember this bioassays, they are quantitative biological assays or tests used to estimate the potency of certain agents. So how do they do that? They observe their effects on a living animals or living organisms, so in vivo, or they observe the effects in the tissue or cell culture system, so in vitro. So this is what you have to remember. So bioassay, it is used to detect biological hazards or give a quality assessment of a mixture, and bioassay, it is often used to monitor water quality. So this is the application. So you have to remember about the technique, or you have to know about the application. So of recently UPSC is framing questions on the applications of some innovative technologies or important technologies. Okay, so you have to know this application. So it is used to monitor water quality and also sewage discharge and its impact on the surrounding. So you have to know bioassay, it is used to detect biological hazard and give quality assessment of a mixture. So depending on the test organism, so we can come to know what is the quality of soil, air or liquid samples which can be assessed or assayed. Okay, so biotechnology, it is often used to monitor water quality, and it is also used to assess the environmental impact as well as safety of new technologies and facilities. So just remember, bioassay deals with quantitative analytical method, and it will be using some live organisms to test. Okay, so after testing some sample, we will try to assess the quality of soil, air or liquid, and majorly this bioassay, it is used to monitor water quality and sewage discharge and what is the impact on surrounding living organisms, or to assess the environmental impact. Okay, so this is what you have to remember. Next is biofloc technology. So the difference between biofloc technology and the earlier bioassay technology is, so under bioassay we are monitoring water quality and also we are seeing what are its impact. But under biofloc technology, so it is a technology to enhance water quality, especially in aquaculture, through balancing carbon and nitrogen in the system. So this biofloc technology is a biotechnology which is used to enhance water quality, especially in aquaculture, that is fishery and fishiculture. So this biofloc technology, it has recently gained attention because of its sustainable method to control water quality, and also it helps to produce proteinaceous feed for the fishes. So this biofloc technology, it was developed in the 1990s, and it helped fish and shrimp farmers to conserve feed inputs and also to utilize the wastewater during production. So what is the main concept? So we'll try to understand with this particular figure. So you can see in the figure. So under biofloc, the waste from food or feces and urine concentration which is present in the aquaculture or the fish ponds. So it increases ammonia nitrate. So and it also affects the water quality in fish culture. So what should the producers do? So they have to maintain the water quality. So for which they use this biofloc technology. So with this biofloc technology, we will be able to maintain a higher carbon to nitrogen ratio. So what will this biofloc technology do? It will release some bacteria, it will release some microbes. So this biofloc technology, it will try to increase some nitrifying bacterial colonies. So what will this bacteria do? They will convert the ammonium to nitrate, and the bacteria will convert nitrite to nitrates, and finally it converts nitrate gaseous nitrogen. So because of this one, the carbon to nitrogen ratio in the ponds will be maintained, and it will help in the maintenance of water quality and also nutrition. So with this biofloc technology, just know that it will be able to maintain the higher carbon to negative ratio, and also it helps to maintain the water quality. So next we will see last topic, that is key terms in biotechnology which are often in news. So first is biologics. So they are biological products or medicines which are made from living organisms. So we have come across a lot of articles with regard to monoclonal antibodies. So we know that itolizumab, right, and there were tocilizumab, right, for COVID infection. So all these monoclonal antibodies, they are part of this biologics. So try to know about biologics, try to know about biosimilar. So biosimilar, as the name says, it is similar to another biologic medicine. And then try to know bioequivalent and bioavailability. So try to know the difference between all these terms. It might help in the exam. So these are the topics for today's session. Thank you. So we'll meet in Monday's session with more important articles.